What's up, YouTubers, and welcome to today's episode of DRZ Productions. In today's episode, we're going to take a look at the Gate Titan. So recently, I got a request from a close friend of mine who is currently stationed in the Middle East. He wants me to install a Gate Titan in his LCT AK-104. Now, you saw this in my last video, and we went over this in comparison with the SEMA AK-104. But what we're going to do in today's video is we're going to take a look at the LCT AK-104 that Ian sent us, and we're going to install a version 3 Gate Titan in his LCT AK. This video should help you for anyone looking to know how to install a Gate Titan into a version 3 Gearbox series style airsoft gun. This should help you. It's very simple. The Gate Titan, as it comes, it's a fully ready out-of-the-box kit. If you're skilled enough with teching airsoft guns, if you know enough information, it's very simple to do. All it basically does is it replaces your trigger assembly in your AK, and it works as a internal MOSFET, but not just a MOSFET. It works as a whole entire computer system for your gun that you can plug into your phone, your computer, your PC, whatever. You can check everything inside your gun, everything that's going on. You can change your trigger response time, all of that good stuff. It's very good. We're going to go ahead and get the gearbox out of this AK, and we're going to go ahead and open up that gearbox. Alright, so this is the version 3 Gate Titan. This is the box it comes in. It's a very cool decorative box. It's got this like operator dude on the front of it. Pretty cool looking. Very nice packaging. Usually it comes in some sort of saran wrap packaging just to keep it nice and clean, but I already went ahead and decided to take off the wrap on this. So this is the box. Very nice, just like that. It's a very fancy looking box. The packaging is very nice. In the packaging, it comes with your USB plug-in links. This is so that you can plug it into your computer or your phone. It comes with your USB adapter to Dean's connector. This is what you plug into the Gate itself so you can program it. So this is actually the most important piece of it because this is the adapter you're going to need to program your Gate Titan. This is the installation kit. I'm assuming this comes with all the stickers and tabs you're going to need to adjust those sensors that are in the Gate Titan, because it requires some sensors, some small installation stuff, so this is very important. Here we have the actual Gate Titan unit. Now you have to be very fragile with this because there's a lot of little micro sensors on this that basically they run throughout your entire gearbox. You got to be careful you don't scratch any of those sensors or get any oils on them because they are very, very sensitive, very fragile piece of equipment you have here. And you have one more USB cord, I believe here. This is micro USB to USB-C, I believe. Alright, so next thing we're going to want to do is, well, we need to get our gun basically, and we need to get our gearbox out of our AK. Very simple. If you don't know how to remove a version 3 gearbox from an AK platform weapon, check out my SEMA video on how to remove a gearbox from the SEMA AK-104. It's basically the same as an LCT AK-104. So I'm going to jump ahead and just go to the gearbox itself, save us some time. Okay, so this is the LCT version 3 gearbox. This is a beautiful gearbox. As you can see, it's like a brushed aluminum style gearbox, very solid, similar to like what G&G does with theirs, but it's nicer, way nicer. So I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate for you guys what the LCT sounds like without the Gate Titan in it, so I can do a before and after to show you the difference that a Gate Titan can do. And this is all stock, nothing has been done to this. Alright, so as you can see, it's kind of whiny. It's got a very good pop to it though. It's definitely got very good FPS in it. So Ian actually, because he wants to be able to play with this indoors, he's making me go ahead and slap a lower grade spring in this. I'm putting an M100 in his gearbox, and I'm also switching out the motor to a Lonix A1 high torque motor. Looks like on the LCT gearbox you're gonna need a couple Phillips head screwdrivers and maybe some Allen wrenches too. So first thing you're gonna want to do is go ahead and disconnect your motor wires. Pretty simple. They're just male-female connectors. Pull them off the bottom of your motor. And then go ahead and get a Phillips head screwdriver and unscrew your motor housing from the rest of the gearbox. So once you take out those motor screws, put those to the side. You just take your motor housing, pull back, disconnects just like that. You can put that to the side, keep it in a nice, safe place. Alright, next thing you're going to want to do is remove this selector plate at the back of your version 3 gearbox, because that actually, it's another screw that helps keep your gearbox intact. Alright, next, Most version 3 gearboxes for AKs have this plate on the top. You're going to want to remove this plate with something. So you can use a Phillips head, a punch tool, anything. Just make sure you punch that plate off the top of the gearbox because it's clamping it together actually. Put that to the side. Go ahead, find your Allen wrench set. You can go ahead and start undoing that. Another key note, remember to always remove your sector gear trigger cap located behind the trigger. It always likes to hide there. Just pull it off just like that. Alright, now that all the screws are out, we can go ahead and remove the top of the gearbox shell. I always like to use a punch tool or something to try to punch out your actual gears. That way you don't lose any shims on your gears when you remove a gearbox shell. Alright, so this is the inside of the LCT AK-104 gearbox. This thing had a really freaking big spring in the back of it. I mean, this is like an M150 of some sort. It was definitely had to fight with it to get it open. Overall, everything in this gearbox is extremely clean and exactly what I would expect from LCT. Alright, so it's gate tighten time. First thing you want to do is the gate tighten. You need to be very, very careful with it to not get any grease or anything on your actual gate tighten because it will damage your sensors. So before you do install one, make sure you clean everything inside your gearbox just to get all the grease and gunk off of it. To make it easier on you guys, I'm going to go ahead and remove our piston assembly and piston system. Go ahead and remove your gears, but make sure you don't lose the shims on your gears and that they stay the same exact number for same exact number of shims per gear because you always want to make sure that stays the same. Alright, so this is pretty bare. Last thing in here is our trigger assembly. So all we got to do now is just take out our trigger assembly. Alright, so this is a bare gearbox shell. So I'm going to go ahead and wipe this down real quick before we go ahead and install the gate tighten. We clean the gearbox. First thing you're going to want to do is go into the app store and make sure you download the Gate Tighten app. It will look like this. It's kind of a pain in the butt. You got to sign in and create an account and everything. Once you do, it will look like this. Leave it, just let it sit there for now because now we got to actually install the Gate Tighten. Everything in this gearbox should be bare, so you will not even need your little sector gear plate right here. Go ahead and remove that. Alright, so make sure your hands are very clean. What you're going to want to do is go ahead and feed your wires through the hole in the gearbox. It's a little tedious, but not too bad. It's easy to get lost in this process though. And then once you do that, go ahead and lay your gate tighten nicely in your gearbox here. And the LCT, it's a bit of a tight fit, but it will fit, trust me. Sometimes it helps to remove the top part of your gate tighten, putting in the lower board, and then putting the top board back on. Alright, now we got to screw in the gate tighten. Now it gives you this kit here with very special washers because you don't actually want the circuit board to touch anything metal within the box. And it's going to come with a couple washers here. It comes with 1mm washers and 2mm washers. Make sure you use a rubber insulator though underneath the washer because you don't want to cause any short circuiting of your gate tighten. Alright, just like that. Now we're going to go ahead and put our gears in. You're going to want to make sure that your gate tighten does not interfere with your tappet plate going back and forth at all. You want to make sure the top of that's nice and clear. Okay, next thing you're going to want to do is your gate tighten comes with a few stickers here. Actually, it comes with a shitload of stickers. You're going to want to take your trigger assembly, and I call it your trigger nut, and on the inside of this, you're going to want to put a little piece of this tape that they give you. They call it your trigger anti-backlash sticker. And the reason why is your sensor needs to pick that up so that you can correctly time your sensors on your gearbox here. And a lot of installing a gate tighten is just peeling and putting on stickers. Just like that. And that's so that that sensor can pick that up. And they should look like that. It's a sticker that goes on your back of your stopper. And then you're going to want to use your anti-backlash sticker to put on the inside of this little piece. Alright, so once you have your gate installed in your gun, Let's go ahead and make sure your trigger is nice and you almost want it a little stiff, so you can adjust it later. And then we can go ahead and start putting the rest of our gun back together. So I'm going to go ahead and put our piston back in. Just be careful you don't scratch any of the sensors on the gate titan. Like so. Some tweezers might help for getting the pin, or not the pin, for getting the spring for your tappet plate back on. Alright, go ahead and put our piston back in there. Alright, let's go ahead and open up this M100 spring that Ian has sent me. I'll let that sit just like that for now. Go ahead and get our anti-reversal latch and put our anti-reversal latch back in. Perfect. Alright, everything should be good to go now on putting the gearbox back together. Now we just got to make sure our springs stay in place here. Alright, so one last thing we're going to want to do is make sure you put this little white piece of tape on the, or the white sticker on your selector plate here, because that's actually cut to a certain measurement to trigger the sensors, the optical sensors that are on the side of your gearbox. So make sure you cut that and place it exactly where you see that there. And then you can go ahead and put your selector plate back on. Once your selector plate's back on, you can go ahead and start putting the rest of the gearbox back together. We're going to go ahead and install our new motor with the Lonex A1. Just make sure you undo these two screws on the bottom, and then they come apart like this. It's this kind of motion, and you can take your motors right out of the motor housing. Alright, so go ahead and take our motor out of our motor housing. Alright, we'll go ahead and open up this brand new Lonex A1 motor. Nice. Wow. Put it in our motor housing. Make sure you put that little plate behind your motor, just so that you don't damage it when you go to adjust the height later. Take our other half. Alright, and there's our Lonex in our motor housing for Ian's build. So we'll go ahead and we'll put that back on the gearbox right here. Alright, now we're going to go ahead and put our wire plate back on the top of the AK. Alright, so we have our gate titan installed, our motor's hooked up, wires are all set. I'm going to go ahead and plug in an 11-1 LiPo and see what this baby sounds like. Alright, so I don't know if you could hear that, but you could hear the gate titan does 3 short beeps to let you know that it's plugged in and ready to go. Semi-auto. Alright, and full auto. Now it's time to go ahead and put it back in the rest of the gun so we can go ahead and fine-tune and program everything within the gate titan. This is going to be the fun part now. So I'm going to take my phone here. We're going to take our little adapter, Dean's to USB-C adapter. Go ahead and plug that into my phone. And we're going to open up the Gate Titan app. And it's going to ask me, allow the app GCS to access USB device. Just click OK. This is what you're going to see. It's going to tell you that you're connected. Alright? So from here, you can go up to your corner. You can check your dashboard, which lets you know everything's connected. You can check your settings. This is stuff like your fire selector mode, your precocking mode, switch mode, burst mode, burst, ROF stabilization, all good fancy stuff. We're going to go to sensors. First thing you're going to want to check is your trigger response. Now what this does is, using this rod, you can adjust your trigger response time. And if you look here, when I pull the trigger, that's the time that it takes for the trigger to engage. So I can actually shorten that by just turning this dial all the way down, or moving with my finger. So we're going to set it to like really sensitive, like 6 or something. So we'll go to 5. That's like very short trigger response time. All right, and then from there we're going to go ahead and check our fire selector. That is our selector on the opposite side. That's telling us what mode our gun is in. Auto, semi, full, you know, all that good stuff. And then the other one you have is your gears. Inside the Gate Titan there is a gear sensor, and the sensor detects the teeth moving past the optical sensor, and this lets you know what gear is spinning at that time. So this one is on the sector gear, and it won't tell you now, but if I were to shoot this gun, it would show you that the sector gear is picking up a sensor. So it actually, in a way, it actually tells you what position your spring is in and your piston, judging by if the teeth are over the sensor or not. Once you've updated everything, you can go ahead and unplug this. Just click exit, it will save everything. We can unplug our adapter. Alright, so I'm going to plug in my Tamiya to Dean's connector real quick. First thing you're going to notice is when I go to plug in my level 1 LiPo, the gate tighten is going to make 3 beeping noises followed by some vibration in the gearbox. This lets you know that everything's been ready and set up correctly. So I don't know if you guys could hear that, but it beeped 3 times, which means we're all set. So let's go ahead and test out our gate tighten. Should be semi-auto. Full auto. So as you can see, I don't know if you can see, but I am barely touching that trigger. That's how sensitive the trigger response is on this. And this is shooting at like 450 FPS too, which is a very good FPS. Alright guys, so I have the LCT AK set up with a gate tighten in it. I'm using an 11.1 LiPo with 0.25 BBs. This is semi-auto first, and remember to always wear your iPro. Now full auto. This thing's pretty freaking scary, holy crap. So yeah, as you can see, she performs pretty, wow, like, I'm impressed. I might buy one of these myself. So as you guys can see, the gate tighten does some fascinating work. I mean, everything about it is just scary stupid. Me personally, I freaking love this thing. Like, I had no idea what a gate tighten could do until I actually got my hands on one and did it. So I might actually go out and get one of my own for my own, probably for an M4 or something, because this is just too cool. I love the idea, Ian. Would have never thought to put a gate tighten in something. So yeah, this is a lot of fun. I hope you guys learned something. If you guys have any questions about how to install a gate tighten, feel free to leave comments below. I will gladly respond to them and try to get back to you as soon as I can. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video and I hope you learned some things. Tune in next time for my next episode of DRZ Productions. Hopefully I'll be installing a gate tighten in a V2 gearbox next time. So yeah, stay tuned and go ahead and like and subscribe and see you guys next time on DRZ Productions.